Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwadner, and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today, we have a smiling face, Tina Opie, and she is the author of a wonderful new book called Shared Sisterhood. Welcome, Tina.
Thank you so much, Gerhard. I'm so honored to be here.
Tell me about the moment you had the idea. What were you thinking?
So I have had multiple careers. I'm now an entrepreneur and a tenured faculty member. But before that, I was a consultant and a banker. And in each of those contexts, I've sort of asked myself, at least here in the United States, that if the idea of feminism is real, women helping women, why is there so much division in the workplace? Throughout history, there's been a lack of trust. Specifically, initially, I looked at Black women and white women in the United States. But then as we broaden the focus out, we can see that there's sort of a lack of trust between people in general. I wanted us to think about what can we share? How can we come together as human beings to really understand each other? What would happen if we shared sisterhood? If we were more communal, if we were nurturing, if we were empathetic, trusting, vulnerable. And then finally, if we took risks on each other's behalfs and used that as a way to develop actual connection, authentic connection with each other, that would help us have those difficult conversations so that we could link arms and then finally begin to address some of the inequities that have plagued the workplace, but actually the world.
You bring up a very interesting topic, which is trust, and the other one is vulnerability, and both are really closely related because without the ability to put yourself in a position of vulnerability, it's very hard to establish trust.
Those things are reciprocal. And I remember with my co-author, Dr. Beth Livingston, and we described this origin story in the book of how I did not trust Beth when we first met. And I'm confessing in the book that when Beth approached me, I did not trust her because she was a white woman. And that might be hard for people to hear. They may say, well, Tina sounds like she's racist. We need to contextualize this, though. Does it mean that I hate all white people or white women? No. What it does mean is that in the context of banking, in the context of consulting, in the context of academia, and in the context of entrepreneurship, I have been threatened and betrayed, and it's often come at the hands of white women. Shared sisterhood is this overarching philosophy on how we can link arms and dismantle systemic inequities. It's based on 3 practices: dig, bridge, and collective action.
Mm-hmm.
Dig is about introspection. You take your assumptions, your beliefs, and you hold them up almost as a third party objective, and you look at them and you analyze them from multiple perspectives, and you say, well, what are my beliefs? Where did they come from? You are, in fact, feeling that way. But that doesn't mean that that is the thing that should be driving your behavior. My parents taught me that. Dig helps us assess ourselves and be honest.
You want to become aware of the situation and analyze it objectively. And I think once you do that, then you can take the next step and build that bridge to the other person.
Oftentimes, when we are developing relationships or trying to change culture in organizations, we immediately jump to the bridge. We try to develop relationships with each other. Many of us are lacking that introspection. But then in the book, we also talk about how you need to recognize that we're not necessarily entering this bridge process at the same place. We need to understand power. And power we define as access to and control over resources. Throughout history, certain groups have had more power, and that has been white people, men, healthy people, wealthy people, educated people. How can we not have these conversations? Anytime I ask people that, I say, would you trade places with someone in the historically marginalized categories? Almost no one volunteers to do that, which is why it's so important that we build bridges with people who are different than us.
We all have prejudices, and we all need to learn how to manage that better and mitigate it better so it does not interfere with the performance in business.
So I have had people say, for example, Tina, when you talk about race, you're part of the problem. You're causing division because you bring up race. We would be better if we didn't talk about it if we were colorblind. Labels can be descriptive, sort of like how we say that's a red rose or a yellow rose or a blue rose.
Yeah,
The problem with labels is when we affix value to them and then attach a status hierarchy.
exactly. Yeah, because
So
it's related to power.
I'm proud to be of African descent. There's value in people of that, but there are so many people, you know, if a young child says, "Oh, that's a black woman," shh, 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 don't see that. Don't. Why? So it's as if there's a stigma. The stigma is because people are uncomfortable discussing difference.
People set goals based on what they know. However, there are unconscious drives that stand in the way that won't let them set goals and won't let them put them in writing because they have not been trained to do it. And I think the book is wonderful. It's well written. And the statistics up front really make a case for shared sisterhood, but also for equality, diversity, and inclusion. I think it's a must-have.
This is something that's going to benefit all of us.